I think we could probably just get started with introductions as the Neutron team trickles in. But I mean, I know Adair, this is you, Abstract Money. Do you want to give a little introduction on you, the project, for the people listening?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey everyone, I'm Adair, Interchain Adair from Abstract Money, and we are bringing chain abstraction to everyone from on-chain. So everyone in Web3 right now is talking about chain abstraction, but they're talking about off-chain abstraction. They're talking about orchestration and like manipulating accounts and balances off-chain. We do all of that magic, except we do it on-chain and it's orchestrated via Zion. And this magic is done through some on-chain infrastructure that we have deployed all over the Cosmos and all over IBC. And we are bringing this to Ethereum, Solana, and Avalanche later this year. But yeah, so Abstract, we are an app platform and we have on-chain infrastructure that allows you to use apps from anywhere. And we're really excited to be working with Zion, which Anthony will go dive into right now.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so obviously my name is Bernd Banksy, or Anthony. I am the founder and co-contributor of the Zion Network. Always love saying that. It sounds so professional. But yeah, I mean, over here at Zion, we are working on, I mean, honestly, everything abstraction related. And what a perfect guest to have here than Interchain, what was it? Interchain Adair, Abstract Adair? What was it?
Interchain
Dude,
there.
I think abstract today. You got to get the alliteration.
I mean, I can change it literally right
No,
now.
no, 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 no. I don't know if they just called you that back home, but yeah. I mean, and I think we're waiting for Neutron. Neutron should be joining us soon, but yeah. I mean, I guess to talk about what we had done is actually really, really interesting. And I'll take a little stab at what we did, and then I'll let Adair kind of take a quick stab of what we did. But for all of you who don't know, we worked very closely with the Abstract Money team for the last couple of weeks in testing out IBC interchain accounts over to Neutron. And so if you've used the demo application, I believe it's neutron.abstract.money. Is that right, Adair? Or is it Zion?
Zion.abstract.money.
Zion.
We're talking about abstraction. Come
I'm
on,
trying, dude. I'm
wow.
trying, dude. Dude, I abstracted the name. I'm telling you, it gets confusing. But for those of you who don't know, being able to log on to this website and to mint an NFT on Neutron, not only do you not know that you're interacting with one blockchain, you have no idea that you're interacting with two blockchains on the interchain. And Adair, I'll let you take a lot of this because we've had hour-long discussions on this, and your vision. Also, we're going to talk about your vision on this stuff because I think it's very unique and we align on it incredibly well.
Hell yeah. So thanks, Banksy. So yeah, abstract this application. It allows you to do something simple, right? Minting an NFT. We've all done that day in and day out. We're doing it all the time. We're minting meme coins. This allows you to mint an NFT on a different chain without you leaving Zion. And this experience is just the tip of the iceberg, allowing you to do any action on any chain connected via IBC, which, for all of you internet users out there, TCP connects a bunch of computers, IBC connects a bunch of blockchains. So just like in your computer, you can use any application, and you don't care where those servers are. You don't care what protocols they're talking to, like what the underlying technology is. With chain abstraction, and using this technology that we've developed, initiated on Zion, you can interact with any application connected via IBC without knowing about those underlying chains. And this is going to make it so that you can interact with any app and give it to your sister, and she can interact with that app and not even know that she's using blockchain. And that's like something that has kind of escaped all of our minds in these last 10 years in building Web3 apps. We're all obsessed about the blockchains, and we should be obsessed about the applications. And we're really excited to be working with Neutron, the integrated applications network, to allow you to build applications that can control liquidity and accounts and other apps and more on any connected chain. So I would love to have Spade over here describe a little bit about, give an intro and describe a little bit about Neutron.
Hey folks, thanks for having me, and apologies for being a couple of minutes late. Call ran over. I'm one of the co-founders of Neutron, which is, as Adair presented, the integrated application network. On, what Neutron does is basically it does all of the stuff that nobody wants to have to think about, like all of the infrastructure stuff, in order to allow developers to actually build better apps. And so that's in that sense kind of like a match made in heaven with like XION and Abstract, in the sense that like XION is providing this like extremely seamless way to use a blockchain without having to think about it. Neutron provides really great breakthrough applications, and Abstract like ties everything together and makes them easy to connect and enables you to do the interactions that you've tried on testnet recently. So yeah, just wanted to say kind of like thank you, and like my enthusiasm as well about like the extent to which you guys have blown up our Discord recently. That was fun.
Well, I think I was talking to Adair. I think we just recently hit 100,000 accounts. Is that?
Yes, we literally like 20 minutes ago we just hit 100,000.
Love that. Love that.
Who's having the champagne?
Oh, I'm drunk right now, dude. What are you talking about? Are you guys not drinking? What is this? But no, I mean, yeah, sorry, go on.
I'm old school. I thought this was coffee time, but like clearly I'm.
No. It's past 10 a.m. here. We're on to the prosecco. But I mean, we kind of gave the introduction about XION and Abstract. Do you want to give a little introduction, just kind of on Neutron? The origins, where you guys started, and where you guys are going.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the opportunity. So, I think my story and that of our team and the project is kind of like, before building Neutron, we were building an application called Lido on Terra. It was the largest liquid staking protocol on Terra. It was a $10 billion protocol. It was at a time actually larger than Lido on Ethereum by TVL. And we were faced with one very important problem, which is that, while we were, the protocol was super successful on Terra, but it was also, close to saturation basically. And so the natural question was like, okay, what's next, right? And, Terra was a Cosmos blockchain. It was connected via IBC to, hundreds of other IBC chains. And despite that fact, scaling an application, like a smart contract based application, was not actually possible, right? The traditional way at the time to scale an application like this would be, you just take the contracts, you adapt them to the next chain, you deploy them again, and then you do this again for every single chain that you want to expand to. And that eventually becomes a maintenance nightmare, because now you're maintaining multiple versions of the same code base, but with every specificity from every chain and such, right? And this isn't the right architecture, let's say. And it just like prevents you from actually scaling the way that you would scale your application, right? And so Neutron is an idea that, it's a vision of how we solve this problem effectively, right? The idea is that Neutron is a smart contracting platform that gives you access to very advanced infrastructure that allows you as a developer to build a better app, but also to scale it seamlessly with just the one set of smart contract across X number of blockchains connected by ABC, right? So say, you're deploying an application on Neutron. That application is able to, similar to kind of like what people have experimented with in this minting of an NFT on Neutron remotely from XION, applications on Neutron are also able to create accounts on other networks, hold assets, manage assets, execute transactions, right? So for example, you could have, let's say I created a DAO on Neutron. That DAO can now, decide to make investments or enter positions on another protocol, right? Or stake with another protocol. It can also retrieve information from that chain so that the protocol can operate, it knows what it's interacting with, basically. And that allows it to basically, you create one set of smart contracts, and that set of smart contract is able to provide the services across X number of chains. That's what one part of it. Now, since this kind of like beginning in May last year, Neutron has kind of like continued to evolve, and now it provides much more services to developer than this. It provides like a breakthrough like in protocol enshrined oracle that functions very similar to Chainlink actually, except it's run by the network's validator, so that you have the same security for the price data that you're getting into your application as the network itself, right? There's an advanced order book, there's like native automation so that you don't have to rely on third-party bots and stuff. So it's like very advanced infrastructure that you as a developer can use to build a better product, right? To remove a lot of the quirks of like Web3 UX and developments generally, right? And so I think like, in a way, like XION and Neutron are kind of like doing like on the same mission, except for different cohorts, right? Like XION is removing all of the friction and hurdles for users, and we're doing kind of like the same for developers so that they can build apps that don't look and feel like Web3, but are able to provide those good properties, right? The security, the censorship resistance and such, but actually make great products that feel good to use and that can scale, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I'm gonna ask you this question, and then Adair, I'm gonna throw it right to you after. In like 5 years, where do you see Neutron? Right, and then Adair, same to you after. Not about Neutron, but about Abstract.
Yeah, so I think what we're saying, right, is like there's a shift in the way that application like new features, experiences, and applications are launched into this industry, right? Like you look at Bitcoin and the programmability was very, very restricted. Like you could do some stuff, like ordinals, for example, is an example of like there is some programmability, but it's extremely restricted. And then came Ethereum, which introduced the concept of smart contracts, right? And smart contracts are great because they're much easier to develop, right? You can learn how to build them much faster. Once you know how to do it, it's cheaper, it's faster, it's reusable. You can share components with others, which means that the code bases become more and more battle tested. There's more innovation going on because people are kind of like sharing and innovating on stuff constantly. But they also have like drawbacks, right? Particularly like on EVM chains, there's tremendous constraints around what you can actually do with the smart contracts because you're limited by the gas limits, right? Like you can only use certain amounts of storage or computation. You don't have access to any of the thing that makes blockchains powerful, which is kind of like the consensus protocol. And those things kind of like restrict your ability to build breakthrough applications. And so to solve this problem, right, the people invented like Cosmos, right? It's like, oh, we want to build this great application. We don't want any limits in our ability to build the best version of the product possible. So we'll just have the blockchain be tailored to that, right? And in theory, the benefit of this approach is like very, very high performance, extreme customizability so that you don't have to make compromises when designing your application. But in reality, it also comes with tremendous costs, right? You lose network effects. You have a lot of fragmentation. The UX is tough. You have to constantly pay for the security of the network, which costs tremendous amounts of money. You have to rebootstrap every single integration with wallets, explorers, and the rest from zero. And where Neutron, like what Neutron is kind of like the next step of this iterative process, right? It's let's take the best of the smart contract world, right? The fact that it's standardized, modular, reusable, fast, cheap, efficient, and let's combine it with the best of app chains, which is it's customizable, it's high performance. You can use it to build stuff that you wouldn't be able to build anywhere else. And combine them without the drawbacks of both of the approaches, right? And so like that's what we call integrated applications, right? And so I think this is something that the industry as a whole is trending towards. I think like, Neutron, but also other chains like Solana even has kind of like hints of this philosophy kind of like showing up. And so I think in 5 years, either I'm completely wrong and then I'll be out of a job, or what I'm saying right now has some truth to it. And then I think like Neutron will be a tremendously successful ecosystem of very powerful applications that are designed purposefully to solve users' problems in the most efficient, most pragmatic way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we could probably all relate here where in 5 years we either right or out of a job, and I think that's a risk that we kind of love. Adair, you wanna take a stab at your vision?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just build off of what Spade just mentioned here, going from the single chains to the smart contracts to the app chain thesis with Cosmos. I want to see this taken further, like application specific chains where like the only thing on the chain is the application. And when that application talks to other chains, it's actually like drawing from those services on other chains, because IBC is going to get faster and faster. It's going to become more trustless. There's going to become a lot more chains connected to this interconnected ecosystem, giving developers access to all of the resources that they need to build incredibly powerful applications that don't need one giant generalized smart contract chain to scale. Because like this thesis of one giant chain like Solana, like with really fast transactions and like, or Ethereum and all these L2s, like this thesis does not scale. Like not all the applications have to be on one network. And we see this design, like this kind of fragmented design with a bunch of computers talking to one another, used everywhere in Web 2, because they found like years ago, like decades ago, that this having monolithic computers with all the apps there, it doesn't work. You need application-specific computers that talk to other application-specific computers. And so I see the internet of blockchains actually exploding and becoming like growing exponentially, especially with roll-up as a service providers and new roll-up frameworks like Celestia and Dimension and roll chains and all of these things. They're all using IBC, which means that everyone will be talking to the same protocol. Everyone will have access to these applications on these chains on the chain level, and we just need to bring this access to the users. This access to the users through something like XION to allow the users to authenticate to these applications really easily, and then something like Abstract that whose infrastructure exists on all of these chains and can connect them all, and so that they can all talk to one another. And then you bring the best applications together. You put all of the technology in the hands of the developers, and you give all of the applications to the users, and they don't even know that they're using the interchain, the Web3. You don't even know you're using the internet most of the time. It just works.
Exactly. I love that. I love that analogy. I know we've talked about that a lot of times. One question that I do want to ask both of you is, what is your hottest take in this industry? Whoever wants to go first can go first. All right, Adair, you're going first.
All right. Oh, fragment. Everyone talks about this. It's a complete fallacy. It's yes, okay, yeah, the liquidity is on all these different chains, yeah, but if you can access it, it's not fragmented. And with all of these chains being connected via IBC, being connected via interoperability protocols, all you need to do is take away the user, abstract away the user from this, and have those assets be controlled by smart contracts. It's not that complicated, guys. And then when you go to send your assets, the smart contracts talk to the chains where those assets are, and it pulls them away and it can send them. And yes, okay, you can't, put liquidity in a DeFi pool if like the liquidity is on these other chains, or can you? I mean, if you have an application, a truly distributed application that shares state across multiple chains, then you can have like virtual tokens that represent positions on other chains, where like when those tokens move, the state is synchronized across multiple chains. And this is something that's possible with Abstract, and something that my co-founder Robin would absolutely love to talk about, like distributed applications on top of blockchains. It's incredibly inefficient right now, but this kind of future is going to allow you to just connect everything and do everything on every chain as if you were on all those other chains at the same time. And the hot take is chain abstraction. No, the hot take is that fragmented liquidity is BS.
So
I'm excited for that. Sorry, Spade, good luck with beating that one.
Well, I mean, I guess my hot take is that like that's only partially true, actually. I kind of agree on like most applications actually. Anything that is not liquidity sensitive specifically is something that I completely agree. Like I think the space is going to move more so towards like, asynchronous communications for these things. But I think the reality as well is that whenever you're talking about stuff that is synchronously sensitive, like liquidity, for example, there have been attempts at creating distributed AMMs, for example, right? AMMs that you can trade through from any chain, and it just treats like, the whole liquidity is available on every chain and such. They don't work. And the reason for that is there is latency, and latency is not everybody is created equal versus latency. And what that means is that when you initiate a trade on one chain, and that changes the curve there, an off-chain actor, which is not subject to whatever the latency is for an asynchronous protocol, is able to actually arbitrage that on the other deployments, right? And that will always happen before you're able, as a decentralized protocol, to rebalance your entire, to update the state across all of your deployments, right? And so as a result of this, the protocols that are, there are types of protocols that will always actually benefit from synchronicity. And those are the exceptions whereby, the ugly general smart contract platform actually makes sense, because that's the condition, the context in which you can prevent these sorts of exploits, basically. And so I agree with you, but only partially is, I guess, my hot take.
And
I guess
I
we could
agree
do
with
hotter, but
I agree with you on that point as well. And you can use these generalized smart contract chains to create virtual liquidity that talks to all these other chains, and it doesn't have to be synchronously updated. Like you can have token balances on all sorts of different chains and have one chain manage that liquidity. And the off-chain and MEV,
Absolutely.
because of the latency, I think is a really good thing, because it allows for more efficient. Yeah. So
Yeah, I completely agree.
hot takes.
So I guess a hotter take, right, is I think you're right in terms of like the topology of the industry is going to continue towards there being more chains. I think a slightly spicier take than my previous one could be of these newer chains. I think the vast majority of app chains, unfortunately, are going to absolutely die off, right? And this is going to be like natural selection applied to an industry of blockchain. I guess that's spicier, but I also think that's true.
Absolutely. I mean, when's the last time you logged into webkins.com or like any of these websites
You relax, I'm
on
still
the
there.
internet that are hosted by someone because someone cares? It's the same concept in Web3, except the problem is that there's, people's financial assets are tied into these blockchains, which makes it really exciting, but also upsetting.
I gotta say, I think we need more alt L1s in this industry. It's gonna be my hot. I just don't think
More
don't think we
roll-ups,
have enough
more
alt
alt
L1s.
L1s. Yes.
Some more roll-ups. If we could get a L4 by the end of this cycle, I think that's really. I mean, that's what we're missing for adoption is just a layer 5. Because I think that's when we really start to see people actually building products in this ecosystem.
Yes, that's what Jack Dorsey meant about Web5. It's layer 5s.
I forgot about that. Fuck. No, you literally did. That literally was what it was, though. And it's like, it's very upsetting because it was like, actually, it's not Web 3, it's Web 5 because it's better. And this is exactly where we're going. Fuck, dude. Yeah, that's my hot take. All right, but listen, guys, this was so much fun. I appreciate all of you for coming, and we got to do this more. I think there's a lot of great conversations to be had, and there's a lot more work to be done. Obviously, we're going to be doing this on mainnet too, and I think there's a lot of problems to be solved in this industry, and I think we've all been working together for probably about a month on this, I would say. And excited to keep going on more and more iterations, more and more exciting stuff, and more use cases to solve for. So, I'll let you guys kind of, if you want to say any last words, Adair, and Spade, take it off.
Yeah, absolutely. This space has been a blast, and I'm excited to see more apps in use. Being able to use more apps on Neutron from anywhere, and then being able to use any app in the interchain from anywhere. That is where we're moving as a space, and I think that this is possible in the next few months. So definitely stay tuned. and you'll find some exciting things to do if you enjoyed this demo.
That sounds cool. I agree. More apps, more use cases, more actual uses. Completely agree with this motto. This was like, thanks for having me, folks. It was a blast. Just let me know next time. I'll bring the prosecco along.
Absolutely. As long as it's after 10 a.m., I think that should be fine. Just assume to bring the prosecco.
I don't make the rules.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it, and look forward to talking to you all soon.